Hello everyone, this is Season 1, Episode 3. In the previous Episode 2, I told you how I ultimately got admitted into a PhD program. Today, I will talk about the Master's program, which is the stepping stone to that gate. In other words, how I went abroad starting from a Master's, after finishing my undergraduate studies in Korea. The time when I began to dream about studying abroad was during my senior year in college. Usually, people who want to study abroad prepare from early on. Many start preparing thoroughly from their freshman or sophomore years, but I was a little different. To be honest, my dream of studying abroad was not that big. After finishing my undergraduate studies, I planned to work at a company, gain social experience, save money later, and try starting a business. So I was not very interested in studying abroad. However, when I became a senior and approached graduation, my thoughts began to change. From that point, I started seriously thinking about studying abroad, and as a result, I began later than others. So I tried to improve my GPA in my own way, but I was not prepared at all to the level required for studying abroad. So I chose to go to a company first. After graduation, I worked for about 2 years. I saved money for studying abroad and built my career at the same time. Looking back now, that decision was a very good one because people who have research experience and project experience from their undergraduate years have a lot to talk about. But in cases like mine, where I suddenly start preparing for studying abroad, there is not much to show. In this situation, work experience becomes a huge advantage. Especially graduate schools in the United States are very practical places. They carry out projects funded by the federal government, state governments, or science foundations. And many of those projects are directly connected to real industries, so they tend to prefer applicants with work experience. If you have work experience, you can compensate for a low GPA to some extent. In my case, my final GPA was around 3.4 out of 4.5. which was not enough for studying abroad. So I strategically chose my company. There are many good companies in Korea, but the ones recognized in the United States are somewhat different. So if your goal is studying abroad, it is important to go to a company that is known in the United States as well. For example, there are S Company and H Company. These two companies have relatively high recognition in the United States. However, not everyone can go to these companies. So there is another good option. That is the Korean branch of a foreign company. In Korea, they may look relatively small, but the headquarters are often very well known globally. In fact, they can be more advantageous than large Korean corporations. I chose this foreign company. The reason was the English environment. At the company, English was used as the official language, and emails, documents, and meetings were mostly conducted in English. Through this experience, I was able to develop a real sense of working English, and this experience was a great help during my preparation for studying abroad. Let me tell you one more important reality. Just because you graduated from a good university in Korea, it does not mean you will be recognized in the United States. I personally asked professors and students in the US, and even top universities in Korea are not well known. In most cases, this is the reality. So in studying abroad in the US, GPA is much more important than the name of the school. Someone who has a high GPA from a local university in Korea can be much more competitive. Since my GPA was not strong, I compensated for it with my work experience. And there is one more very important factor. That is the recommendation letter. At first, I thought it would be advantageous to get a recommendation letter from a professor from a famous university. But in reality, that was not the case. The most effective recommendation letter was written by a professor who graduated from the school I applied to because that professor was well regarded at that school. They trusted that recommendation letter very strongly. In the end, I was rejected by several schools, but I was accepted by the school that professor graduated from. Through this experience, I realized one key principle. If there is an organization you want to join, getting a recommendation from someone from that organization is the most powerful. This is the core of the US system. So the second piece of advice is this: become a person who is trusted. The United States is a society where many different people gather, so people do not easily trust each other. That is why earning trust is extremely important. That trust ultimately comes from relationships. More important than studying well is being trusted by people. Act sincerely in your daily life. Work with responsibility and maintain good relationships with others. That way, someone can truly recommend you from their heart. And that one recommendation can change your life. You may feel that your current situation is difficult. You may not have enough money. Your academic background may not be strong, and your confidence may be low. But I was in the same situation. I was also ordinary. I started late, and my GPA was not strong. But there was still a way. If you move strategically, opportunities will definitely come. Never give up. If you keep going until the end, you will definitely see results. In the next episode, I will talk about the third piece of advice, the power to do what you do not want to do. If today's video helped you, please like and subscribe. Thank you.